Hi guys, my name is Kieron Pender, aka KP, aka Calibama, and this is my self-portrait project for interpersonal communications, spring 2022. For starts, I want to go to my childhood. First I was born in California, so that's why I want to start off and say Calibama. I was born in Tarzana, California, Los Angeles, California, I say, and by the time I turned 3 years old, I moved to a small town city called Mobile, Alabama. First I want to show the whole self-portrait. And then here's Mobile, Alabama, the city I grew up in most of my life. It's actually a beautiful city in Alabama that many people don't think they would think is a beautiful city, because it's Alabama. Like, you never hear about Alabama, but it's definitely a beautiful city by the water in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where I grew up from the time I was 3 years old to 14. Growing up in Mobile, Alabama, it was a great city. It's a great time, great times with family, great time with friends, and good times to eat. Growing up there was great. I love being there in Mobile, Alabama. I go back still to this day to visit family. It's not much to do, but if you got family there, you're gonna love it. Growing up there, you love football. Football was a great hobby I loved as a child. That's all I did. Everything is football and video games. That's all I did. I love video games. I love football. When I step on that field, I know that playing football takes away any pain or anything I had in my mind. Football took the stress out. Playing video games was always something I did to keep things off my mind. I always kept a little PlayStation portable PSP around me every day. When I go out to eat or when I go out with my family, it was the best thing to me. It was like my best friend. Growing up, it was hard getting friends because I was a little shy back then, but I definitely say I'm better now. And first off, I want to say God is my first and only for everything, first priority. I'm a Christian, and I go to church every Sunday, and I'm a diehard Christian. I am a Christian believer. I believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for me, because I grew up Christian. Both my grandmothers are pastors. So growing up in a small town city, country city, it was definitely, being a Christian believer, it was a must. That's just how it was for me growing up. Then let's get to my education. My education, I want to say, first off, I want to start off when I was in elementary school. When I was in elementary school, this is when I started in Mobile, Alabama. Elementary school, I went to like three elementary schools, three elementary schools, and they was all located in Mobile, Alabama. Every elementary school, my whole elementary school was in Mobile, Alabama. Growing up there, you got to wear a uniform. They didn't really have recess, and it was crazy. I want to say it's crazy, but it was fun times. It was definitely fun times growing up in Mobile, Alabama in elementary school. And I feel like they were very strict on this, especially how California elementary schools are. It's very strict. You got to wear a belt. You got to wear brown shoes in elementary school. There's no recess, so it's like, it's very strict. And I went to three middle schools. The first middle school was Westlawn Elementary. The second was Gilliard Elementary, and the third was Dodge Elementary. And elementary school there is the 5th grade. So kindergarten to 5th grade. Some elementary schools here in California are up to 6th grade. Ours is up to 5th grade. So hitting middle school, we started with 6th grade. And in 6th grade, I want to say, I started off doing robotics. I started doing EYE, and I started doing STEM because I love engineering. That was my career and my path. That's what my goals, to be an engineer and be a part of the STEM program. And I loved it. I never went back from it. I still plan to be an engineer, or at least do computer science, or be a programmer or coder still to this day, because I loved it. I loved the EYE programs. I love engineering programs, and it was great. It was great to me. Then when I was in middle school, my first middle school was actually from 6th grade to 7th grade was Burns Middle School. Burns Middle School was a great middle school. Sometimes it was a little tough. It was tough, but it was a great middle school. And growing up there, it was strict too. You didn't have freedom at lunch, so it was hard. It was a little different. But moving on from 7th grade to 8th grade, I moved to Upland, California. That's when I moved to Upland, and I went to Upland Junior High. And I was finally back in California. It was different for me. It was different, but I loved it. Back then, I want to say in 8th grade, it was fun. I loved growing up in California, back in Upland. It was great. My friends were more friendly, and then I started going by instead of being Kieron Pender, I started going by the name of KP. KP made me, I feel like that made me get more friends because I changed my name. Just because I changed my name, it's easier to catch on and say, oh, it's KP there, that's KP. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And everybody knew I was just because I had 2 letters in my name. It was crazy. Then let's go to my family. These 3 are my brothers. I only got 2 other siblings. And here's my parents. Love them to death. They do everything for me. They still together. I love them to death. And I still treat them. I would do anything for them still to this day. I would do anything. If I had $1 million, I would give them $1 million today. Because I love them to death. Here's all my family together. My brother, my nephew. If you want to know who the child is, that's my nephew, my first nephew. Here's him again in this picture. Love him to death. My family, very fun, very cool people. They very funny comedy people. I love them to death. They're comedy people. And I love them to death. And growing up with them was fun. Having both of your parents is great because two parents at a home, that's the best thing you're going to have. It's a good thing. And I definitely want to follow behind their footsteps and honor them because they taught me well and I want to teach my kids well as I grow up. It's very good to have them. And here's my career. I want to be a coder. I'm still looking into it. I want to be a professional coder. And I still want to play Division I football. That's my career as of right now. I'm trying to play Division I football. And those are my 2 career paths. Still looking at those, still to this day. And the only mentor I have learning about coding is my Uncle Terrell. And he teaches me a lot about coding. And that's what made me go, instead of doing right now engineering, I'm leaning towards more of coding. Coding, hearing about it, I draw more towards it because I heard about video games. And video games, it was good, when I was younger. So I always loved video games. So I always, playing video games was my passion. It was a hobby. I want to play professional video games and I want to make them. So coding, I feel like that would help me. And I don't want to do a job that I don't like. I want to have a job that I'll have a passion for. Why get paid for something you don't like doing and get paid for something you love doing? And here's me in the middle. Currently, this is me. And this is my portrait in the back. This side I have California. This side I have Alabama. And that's my portrait and my self-portrait for Interpersonal Communications 2022. And thank you. Thank you so much.